bald, and I don't think that's too bad a photo. I'm trying to put on a brave face in this particular photo. At the end of what I went through in a local hospital here in Sydney after that 2.5 years, I was given some terrible news after what I was put through, and my future wasn't looking bright at all. So I basically did some research, and I looked at taking my health into my own hands. So through my Google research, not the research I thought I was doing at the time, I found out about alkaline diets. I found out about various seeds and nuts that you could eat, you know, alkalining the body to basically get on top of, to empower my body to get on top of what it was going through. I was on various nutritional supplements, super juices, antioxidants, and I did this for 2 years. But after 2 years, I still found myself in a serious situation. I didn't feel any good. I didn't look any good. And my test results were basically the same. So this next photo was after 2 years on a pristine diet. Thank goodness it was about this time a friend of mine from Noosa, Bart Cotter, gave me a call. And he was in America at the time. And all he said to me was, I think I've found something that could help. And basically, you know, in no time, I found myself on a plane with Mal Sword, who was on this call. And we were heading over to Salt Lake City to have a look at this breakthrough technology, because we both had issues with our health. When we got over there, we were in the boardroom of this company called ASEA, and this bottle was on the boardroom table. And basically, they were giving this stuff, we were calling it at the time, for nothing. And all I recall from the conversation from the atomic and medical physicist that was telling us about this breakthrough, Dr. Gary Samuelson, because all the science was going over my head, all I could remember was it was non-toxic and there could be health benefits. So Mel and I were gorging this stuff down while sitting at the boardroom table. I must have gone through about half a bottle of what I was sitting there. We finished that meeting after about 3 hours. We went back to the hotel room in Salt Lake City, and I went to have a shower because we were getting ready for dinner. I took my shirt off, and I had red spots all over my chest, my back, and my shoulders. Not putting two and two together at the time because we just got off a plane. So I was thinking cabin pressure, maybe my jumper and hot and cold and all sorts of things. And maybe there was a bit of a reaction from sitting on the plane, but not realizing at the time that my body was expelling what it didn't want in there. And it was coming out so quick, it was actually coming out of my skin. The next morning we get up and we go to have breakfast in the hotel. And I met Mel down there and all our colleagues. And I'm thinking to myself, well, they said that this stuff the day before could have health benefits. And for 20 years, I've had a caffeine intolerance. 20 years. So any more than 2 coffees on any particular day, I'm buckled over all day with discomfort. Now, my existence, my life was horrendous because what I was going through after that hospital visit for 2.5 years was I was so tired, lethargic, fatigued from what I went through that I used to drink more coffee to give myself more discomfort to get through the day. So that was my existence at the time. So the next morning after drinking this stuff for the first day, we just went through half a bottle. The next day I decided to have 6 coffees to test it. And after that 6 coffees, I didn't think about what I should have gone through because I couldn't feel anything that would have reminded me of what I used to have. So basically a 20-year issue had been handled within 12 hours. The next day, we decided to go to a theme park. I remember we went to have some fun with the guys, with Mal and with Bart Cotter. And I was just saying to the guys over that 48 hours leading into getting to this theme park, I just feel so good. I feel like Superman. I was going through all sorts of different types of emotions, but I just felt really good within myself. I jumped out of the car and I started running across this car park like a madman possessed. Now, 2.5 days earlier, because of all the lung damage from what I went through in that hospital, I was having trouble breathing and talking at the same time. I went on this run and I wasn't huffing and puffing. So that's when the light bulb went on and I thought, well, we've got something here. Something is working within my body already. So that was my first 48 hours experience with drinking this stuff called ASEA. Now, the thing is that every single cell that is damaged or every single disease on the planet starts with a damaged cell. And that cell, if not detected, has a chance to mutate. into 2 cells and 4 cells and keeps multiplying, and all of a sudden someone's got an issue, someone's got a condition, someone's got a disease, something that's incurable, something that's actually terminal. So that's how all these things start. Now, the thing that detects the damage in our body, that communicates with the immune system, are these things called redox signaling molecules. We are all producing them, all of it. So I'm going to skim over this because we've got a special guest on tonight who is well and truly an expert on what I'm going to talk about, these redox signaling molecules. We are producing them in abundance as children, and this is the reason why children heal and recover so quick. They're running around with energy all day, aren't they? So they're producing an abundance of these molecules, which are responsible for detecting cells, protecting, repairing, and replacing. They're not the thing that does it. They signal the immune system to come and do the job. They activate antioxidants. They do all sorts of things. As I said, I'm not going to go too deep into that because I'd love to invite somebody on to go through who's got more credibility than I have on the subject. So we get to 50 years old, we have 50% production left. We get to 70 years old, we only have 10% production left. So at 70 years old, we're healing 10 times slower than what we did at the age of 10 years old. So what have we got our hands on here today? After 17 years, a team of scientists led by Dr. Gary Samuelson, who's an atomic and medical physicist, have managed to stabilize the exact same molecules that we produce in every single healthy cell in this bottle of ASEA. So basically what they've done, they've created these molecules from what we make them from, which is salt and water. Chemical reaction within the body changes the molecular structure. They've done exactly the same thing on the outside. So we've got a great opportunity to share this with people, to help people. There is a bit of a business model behind it. Thank goodness for that, because 2.5 years ago, I found myself not having my health. And with that being returned after being a successful businessman, I didn't have, our life was gone financially as well. So once I started getting my health back and that was returned, ASEA has got a word of mouth model where we can share this with people and create an income. And the great thing about this for me was the more people that I helped, the more that I got paid. So, and our pay for what we do is a reflection of the amount of people we help. So it goes hand in hand. So Stevie, if you can just show the next photo, I'm just going to go into the rest of my journey when I came back to Australia. Now, I was a very happy camper only at the end of 2015. This was about 1 year after I started using this product. The doctors couldn't find anything wrong in me anymore. There was multiple injuries from playing sports from over 35 years ago that I didn't have anymore. I couldn't play golf. I couldn't swing a club. I couldn't go fishing. I couldn't cast a fishing rod. I couldn't wash a car. I couldn't cut lawns. But I found myself at the end of 2015 being able to do all these things, and unfortunately, washing cars and cutting lawns. If you could just promote everybody to the screen, please. Technical support. Thank you, Pat Cotter / Stevie Aquilina. Wow, look at all these people. We've got a lot of people on this call. Now, I went through that really quick, guys, and the reason I've done that, and you probably know what's coming, Dr. Monica Mauritz. We've got a special guest sitting there all the way from New Zealand. Dr. Monica Mauritz was a GP in South Africa for 30 years, a lot of experience in the medical fraternity. I think she recognized where that career path was going and decided to come into native therapy. I mean, natural therapy. I mean, helping people in alternative ways. And I think there's a lot of people on this call really, really excited, as I was when I met you in New Zealand, and you just absolutely blew me away with your knowledge on the mitochondria and ASEA and redox signaling molecules, because you've been studying them for over a decade. And if you don't mind coming on and even talking about sharing the story of how you came across ASEA and redox signaling molecules, would be really appreciated. We'll just take you off mute and we'll get you going. Can you do that, Stevie, or can you come off mute?
Yeah.
Hi, everybody. There you are. Hello. Thanks for coming on tonight. We really, really appreciate it.
You're welcome. I set my alarm so that I don't fall asleep.
There's a lot of people really, really excited about hearing from you tonight. We've got over 100 people on this call, which is incredible because it's only the third one we're doing. And, you know, you're right up there with Dr. Gary Samuelson in knowing how important these molecules are for the human body. So I'd love to hand over to you, and as there's a lot of excited people waiting to hear from you. Thanks.
Okay. Hi, Danny. Hi, Stevie. I'll come and meet you when I get to Australia. Yeah, I have worked in the field of natural medicine and obviously severe degenerative disease and people with severe health challenges for many, many years now, and have studied the mitochondria and realized that if you have a sick cell, you have a sick body. And worked on that and did a lot of research, worked a lot in that field. And then I met, I started really to look sort of middle of last year. I thought there's a missing link in this whole picture. There's something I'm missing because I was getting really good results, but it took a lot of money and it took a lot of effort to actually get there. And then in December, I was at a Christmas dinner and talking to a lawyer of all people that was sitting next to me. And she said to me, "What do you do?" Now, usually in a social environment, I just say I'm in sales, because once I say I'm a naturopath, there's always somebody that has a sick family member and a sick. But because she was a lawyer and her husband's a gynecologist, so I knew she would know the social boundaries. And we wouldn't go into a long discussion, otherwise I wouldn't be able to eat. But halfway through the discussion, she said to me, "Have you ever heard of ASEA?" I said, "You mean acai?" And she said, No, ASEA. I said, "No, what is that?" She said, "It's this water, it's redox molecules." And for me, it was just, wow, what is this? I said to her, "What do you mean you've got redox molecules?" And she said, yes, but I'm a bit deaf in my one ear. I had a car accident, so I have social deafness, so I can't really talk at a dinner like that. And I just slapped on the table and I said to her, "Can I come to your house tomorrow?" And she sort of went, sure, who's this woman that comes on to me so fast? But for me, that was what I was looking for. And so I went to her house and walked in and said to her, "Where's your computer?" And she said, "Well, wouldn't you like a cup of tea?" I said, "No, let's just turn on our computers." And so Chizo made me a cup of tea in any case, and talked me through. She showed me a video on ASEA, and I couldn't sign up fast enough. I said to her, "Do you have some of this stuff here? I want to taste it. I want to feel what it feels like." And so she gave it to me. And I really pretty much signed up immediately. And from the next day on, started to sign up people. For me, ASEA is magic. I mean, I met Dan and Louine and them in Auckland, and I just said to them, I know you guys know this product, but do you guys really, really realize what it does? And it's really the magic bullet and the cellular structure as far as health is concerned. Because if we look on that cellular level, we always look at anti-aging. And I always say, it's not like we want to look 20 when we're 80. By the way, Dan, you look amazing. But what we look on the outside is what we look on the inside. So you can look on a person's skin and you can see what their cells look like. A patient don't have to tell me much. I can just look at them and I can tell them what they're like. So as far as I'm concerned, ASEA is a major breakthrough. If it wasn't that natural medicine has such a bad name as in magic, then I would use the word magic, because for me, it's magic elixir of life. It is absolutely what gives life to the cells. If you can think of, I use the analogy a lot about a car and our body. Then you can take other supplements, and if you look at your body, it is like you can fill up the car's engine with oil, and you can put petrol in the tank, and you can wash the car and put new tires on, and you can even put a driver in the seat. But unless you have spark plugs, you're not going to get that car going at all. Now, if you look at ASEA is the spark plugs in the engine of the cell. So it really, it's like combustion that happens in the cell. So, for years as naturopaths, we work with things like vitamin C and omega-3 and resveratrol and vitamin A and vitamin D and quercetin and green tea extract and turmeric and all those kind of things. But really, it is almost like unless we have ASEA, if you bring ASEA in with those remedies, it is like this huge explosion in the cellular structure. So for me, I just think it's magic. I just think it's magic. And I love it. I was talking to one of my patients the other day. She said, "You really love this stuff, hey?" I said, "Yeah, I really do." And I don't measure it even anymore. I just stand there with the bottle and just glug it down. It is, yeah, I just think it's amazing. Yeah.
So I recall you saying when we were over there that you were so excited. You got us so excited. I mean, we knew what this was, but you were saying we didn't know what this was or how big it was. And to hear it from you was just incredible. I recall you saying, this wasn't the piece of the puzzle I was looking for. You said, this is the puzzle and everything works because of these molecules and around it.
That's right.
And your experience, you've been studying this for over 10 years.
Yes.
Waiting with bated breath for somebody to produce them out of the body. So I could imagine your eyes would have bulged out of your head when you realized that someone had actually done it.
Yeah, well, the first time I actually saw the production, with Dr. Samuelson, I watched a video and I just looked at it and I thought, this is it, and I just couldn't, I felt like I was bursting open because it was just, I was so excited, and I still am, I just think it's the magic bullet. And in the one sense, I wanted to go stand on the street corners and scream it out. Now, the other corner, I want to just pull it into myself and protect it. Because really, if you look at the big guys who is really controlling the whole environment in medicine today, they don't like things like ASEA. I said it to a patient the other day that she said, "Oh, the publicity on the internet is really bad." And I said, "Yeah, well, you go Google vitamin C and turmeric and anything that is natural and you'll get bad publicity, So, and if you look at even in America, you can't even say that water cures dehydration because it's not been approved by the FDA, So anything that is a threat will be bad-mouthed. And I think the best that people can do is to use it. I always say to my patients, humor me, just use it for 6 months, and I've even gone so far that I did guarantees for some of them. And if they don't feel better after 6 months, I'll pay them their money back because I know it's going to work for them. So really, it doesn't matter what, if you look at the general diseases of today, and I know we don't really put any disease names to ASEA, but if you look at the big names of diseases today that is out there, there is none of them that is not affected by ASEA. I've had patients that, like diabetics, where we had to adjust their medication. And you have to be aware of it, because if you talk to people about it and they're on medicine, you need to tell them to regulate to monitor their symptoms quite regularly, because it does improve, it makes those medications work better. So it can have quite an effect on them. Yeah. But I just, yes, magic. Yeah.
We love having health practitioners on board because, we can talk to somebody one-on-one, and that's fantastic. We have a health practitioner that gets involved who's passionate about actually helping their clients or their patients and can get to the world a lot quicker. So I know your internal strategy is that you don't ask your patients to go on this product, you tell them to.
Yes. Yeah, I don't give them much of a choice, because I always say to them, you can either go the old way that I used to do and take 6 years to get better, or we can bring ASEA in and you'll get there in 3 months or 6 months. It's so much easier. So it makes my life easier, and it's a lot more cost effective for them. And really, if you look at the price of ASEA, I've heard a lot of comments, oh, but it's expensive. But if you really look at the cost of it, it's $7 a day, at 60 mils twice a day. That's what most people pay for a coffee, So you were talking about coffee before. I hope you're not drinking coffee anymore.
I can drink more without a problem.
But yeah, that's what people pay at a cafe for coffee, so really for your health. It's the old saying, if you think you don't have money now for your health, you better find the money for your disease, because it's going to come, and unfortunately more and more those diseases are on a cellular level. Disease is just so intelligent now. It's not anymore my arm is sore or my leg is sore. It is literally now a case of the cells are sick, and that is where disease present now. So
yeah.
ASEA is fantastic.
I mean, I was in a situation where I had businesses and I lost my health, so I lost everything financially, and it could have been into the millions at the time. We're working with a lot of health practitioners, and we're getting a lot of feedback about, how people can utilize, take this stuff, drink these molecules. There was a health practitioner, Wayne Pickstone, that we had dinner with the other night. He's up in Queensland, and he was talking about, and we need some advice off you guys for literally what we should be eating. But he was talking about getting his clients on a good, tidy alkaline diet, and everything that you guys do. And his results now, the results he was getting in 6 to 12 months is now in weeks.
I find the same. Yeah, I find the same. Which usually took me about 18 months is now literally within 3 months we see the results. Yeah. In fact, usually within a week we start to see the changes, and that is really where I say that combustion effect, because we're still giving them the same remedies. But just by adding ASEA, it is really like you spring. You guys know the terminology better, but I just can say it's like a combustion. It's like you explode the remedies in the cell, by adding the ASEA to it. It's like an electric conductor that you put. It's frequency, that you repair. Salt is frequency. So I tend to draw on a board, so I find it hard to explain without drawing on the board. But if you can think of electricity that runs through water and what will happen to it, everybody goes zzz when you put electricity into water. That's if you stay alive. So that's basically what ASEA does. ASEA puts electricity back into the cells, because we know that frequency is healing, and part of why we die is or die slowly, or as we age, which is slow death, is basically our frequency goes down and down, 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 down. And with Redox molecules, Professor Samuelson has proven that now, that and basically given us the tools to keep that frequency alive in our cells, to keep us well, and really anti-aging. And like I say, it's not about this anti-aging, that's nice too, but it's really about the cellular structure. Yeah.
So we're hearing these molecules are the body's weapon of choice.
Absolutely.
And obviously we it's not food, it's not nutrition, it's not a super juice. I mean, we talk about that being the material of the body, and we talk about these molecules being the labor. Without the labor, the material's not going to go too far.
That's right.
It's intriguing having that conversation with you in New Zealand, just in regards to, the children that are being born today and the issues they've got through mothers eating the food they shouldn't be eating. And you mentioned a particular takeaway store. Can you just go through that? That was, yeah. So it's very interesting. And you mentioned the cell being wrapped up in, I think, glad wrap, I think you said, and the toxins not being able to release. If you can go through that, that was a really intriguing conversation we had.
Yeah, people always talk about fast food, and they say, oh, we're so sick because we eat fast food. But the fast food is not the issue. The issue is the fat that they cook it in, So that fat creates like a plastic layer around the cell, and it is like the cells are wrapped in Glad wrap, and nothing can get in and nothing can get out. So no nutrients can get in and no nutrition can get, or toxicity can get out. So what you need to do, and that is basically what has happened to you when you had that rash reaction once you started to drink ASEA, because ASEA comes before. So if you look at redox molecules, when you're unwell, to this extent that you were, your body has lost the natural ability to detox. But what it really does is it first loses the natural ability to redox. Okay. So when they have that fast food, film kind of food, they put that plastic film around the cell, and the poor babies are now born with their cells in that condition. And research that has been done by the American government and at universities there, where they looked at doing autopsies on returned soldiers and car accident victims and things like that, and finding that cardiovascular disease is in a very young age, and we look at 60-year-olds and we say, oh, they have a heart attack risk. The issue is that heart attack risk already and deterioration starts in vitro, it starts in utero. So that mum is pregnant and she eats those burgers and drink those fizzy drinks, and those babies are born with these cells that is wrapped in cling film and already with deteriorated arteries and cardiovascular disease developing. So basically with the vascular condition of 30-year-olds, So we're seeing younger and younger that these kids are having heart attacks at 20. I've got a 22-year-old. He's already had 3 heart attacks, So what ASEA does is that ASEA opens up those channels. ASEA breaks down those barriers and starts to kickstart the cell to detox. By giving it the redox molecules, which is the natural state, that we should have. But I just think it's magic in the sense that we can have the same nutrients and then adding the ASEA, which makes it work so much better.
So Dr. Neiman has done studies in Appalachian State University, double-blind, placebo-controlled. There was 106 overweight women. Half of them were on saline, half of them on ASEA. So there's an incredible reduction in oxidative stress within 3 months, right down to DNA, which is just incredible.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, that's amazing.
So there was obviously this is antibacterial, antiviral, anti-infection. These are the communication, the signals for the body to expel these things out of our body. For me personally, anybody sneezed or coughed on a plane, it was all over for me. That was right up until 2.5 years ago. Now, I have not flown so much more in my life in the last 2.5 years. I haven't come up with anything at all.
Wow. Yeah, my patients sometimes, when they travel overseas, they say, Monica, what supplement should I take? Your ASEA. I say, leave your clothes. Put a panty and a toothbrush in and put your ASEA in. And they come back, they say, I was on the airport and my water went glog, 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 glog in my luggage. So I just think it's an amazing remedy, and I think it's a major breakthrough in medicine, and it's absolutely the medicine of the future. And people having it now has a huge they're in so much a better position. Sorry, I'm Afrikaans, so sometimes the English words just leave me, but yeah, we're way ahead of people that hasn't have exposure to that. I've got a little tennis player, that I've walked the road with her for a long time. She was very unwell when she came to me as a little girl, and she plays tennis now. And we've put her on ASEA a few weeks ago, and she's just doing amazing. And what we do is before each tennis match, we give her the ASEA. And she's so much more focused, and she has so much more energy, and she's performing so much better, So I really love getting the feedback from patients of how they feel. The more energy, the better the medicines work, the quicker the results as far as their health is concerned. I just love ASEA.
So people notice an increase in energy in a very, very short period of time, and better quality of sleep, and the fog lifts and they've got the clarity. Obviously you're experiencing all these things with your patients. Is there any comment on all that stuff with the body healing so quick and why it's doing that? Why are we feeling why did I feel like Superman in those first few days and I just wanted to fly off?
Well, it is because of that electrical current. You see, so your frequency was low. So the moment you put that frequency back into the cell, it's they use the analogy of renovating a house, and you talked about the building blocks and the labor before. So naturally we try to, I don't have enough energy, so I'll just drink another coffee, or I'll have another Coca-Cola, or I'll have another coffee, or I'll have another energy drink. But it is like you stand there with a bucket of milk and you say, well, if I just keep throwing this house with white milk, it will go white too, whereas the moment that you start to break it down and actually put new wood on and put new paint on, it will stick, and the house will look pretty soon. So it's the same with the cells, and a lot of the times we with bad eating habits and not sleeping well and not sleeping enough, and stress and all of those kind of things, we create this environment where our cells is not adapted. So we evolved over the years to live in our environment, but since the industrialization, it changed the environment to suit us. And now it is really a foreign environment. And if you look on the deepest level of where we are at, you talk about the DNA, the mitochondria. So the mitochondria is really right out there as far as evolution of the cell is concerned. It's way more intelligent than us. So, but it's now in this foreign environment where it can't repair itself anymore. You see, and that's why people are getting sicker, younger and younger and younger. And we're now seeing these old people's diseases crippling the young ones. I've got a 6-year-old with crippling rheumatoid arthritis,
Wow.
And people just call it, it's juvenile rheumatoid arthritis. Rubbish. 40 years ago, you didn't hear about kids with rheumatoid arthritis. So at the end of the day, we've got this foreign environment where our cells can't survive, and the mitochondria will take revenge on us, because it's way smarter than us. But the moment you give it something like the ASEA, you just the whole body just go, I can survive. I can survive. This looks familiar, you see. Because they talk about redox molecules peaking at puberty, but I think it peaks a lot younger now. I know how many young people walk into my clinic, teenagers saying, "I'm tired." It used to be the 45-year-olds. Now it's the kids. They're all sick. They're all tired. You see.
Yeah, no, it all starts coming together, people, when you say that, because, Stevie says in his presentation, what's the most tiring thing that you can do? Heal. And it's healing. Now, you've got these kids coming in, they've got all these issues that they never used to, or you never saw 50 years ago, 40 years ago. And now they do, obviously passed on from their mother and whatnot, and, pre-birth, and then they're born with these damaged cells. So all these kids are coming in with adult issues now.
Yes.
It's incredible.
It is. And if you look at supplementation, and we know that ASEA is not a supplement, but it does play a huge role on that level of supplementation, because if you look at something like glutathione, Professor Samuelson has proven it improves glutathione function with 500%. Now, glutathione is what puts oxygen into the cellular structure in the liver. We need glutathione to detox and to cleanse. Okay, so if you look on that level, that they have looked at pre-pregnancy and pregnancy care with mothers. If they take supplementation in the first trimester and for 3 months before pregnancy, they reduce the risk of the child getting autism with 5-fold. That's what we can do. So imagine if you put ASEA into that cocktail.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I reckon it's the best medicine to take in pregnancy, So because then you get that healthy babies, those healthy cells, So if you can't talk to doctors about it, you can't talk to midwives about it, talk to your children and your grandchildren about it, because they need it. They need it desperately because their environment is toxic. And they're producing our future generations, and they're producing toxic future generations that will not be able to survive in this environment. And ASEA can make a difference.
We would love to hear this stuff from you all night. We really, really would.
I can talk days. I always say, hold up a board and tell them to stop.
Everyone's been so excited about this call and having you on. I mean, everybody around the world has heard of Dr. Monica Mauritz within the ASEA family. Okay. So I'll be asking for some compliant testimonials soon from people who want to volunteer. Is there any testimonials that you want to throw in with what you've experienced? Any ones that really stand out with what you've seen?
Yeah, well, for me, working with in natural medicine, I've only just signed up. I mean, I only signed up, I think it was in January, just after Christmas when I went to see Chizo. So my patients are still young on it. For me personally, I was in a very bad car accident 20 years ago. Had a bad fracture in my neck, in fact 7 fractures, had bad brain damage, and have barely survived over the last 20 years without pain. I've had pain every day. I've learned to live with it because I refuse to take pharmaceutical drugs for it. I started to take ASEA, and I don't lie to you, within 2 weeks, I got up to one day and I thought, I don't have pain, So really, since I started to take ASEA, within weeks, my pain went, and it is still gone, and it is pain that I've had, intense pain for the last 20 years. So that is my own personal experience. The energy is just amazing. I mean, it is just, but it's not energy like when you drink coffee, where you have the high and then the lows. It is the stamina, the resilience that goes with it. I really have to focus on my sleep patterns because, I do work under a lot of pressure, so I can work for many, many hours. So I really do make sure that my cutoff time is 8:30 and I'm in bed at 9:30 and that kind of thing. So, but what I also found was that I do sleep better. Sleep was always a thing for me because of the pain. And I remember the one morning I woke up, and I wasn't on ASEA for long then, and I woke up and I thought, wow, I'm still lying exactly like I went to sleep last night. Now, I haven't done that for years. So, yeah, definitely better sleep, more stamina, more resilience, and very definitely no pain. Yeah.
Fantastic.
It was really strange when I started with the ASEA because I got damage on this side of my head, and that's how I lost the hearing as well. So it was like shooting pains that I had, sort of just going through there. And I realized that what must be happening is that the ASEA is actually healing that up, and healing the brain issues. It's definitely made a difference in my things like memory and so on. Still struggle with names, so hopefully one day I'll get that right.
You can call me anything you like.
I think now I just get old.
So I suppose we've got the closest thing to the Holy Grail, the fountain of youth. I don't care what this costs. I know what it does, and I'm spending a lot of money on my immediate family to keep them here as long as possible, as healthy as possible. My father was a skeptic. This has cured his skepticism. He's telling the world about what it's done for his body, which has just been incredible.
Wow.